it's always a pleasure to come your way live on Kwesa TV for Sports Extra. It's a Wednesday night, and you know what happens here on Wednesday night? We bring in a journalist to tell their stories in what we have dubbed the Storyteller Story series. Tonight, we have a journalist who works at Citi FM as well as Citi TV. I'm sure you are wondering who it is. Of course, there are about 4 prime sports journalists in that particular establishment. We already have had one of them in our studios. Tonight, we'll be talking to another. But let's introduce him via this clip.
World Cup preview show. Finally, it's just a few days to the FIFA World Cup now, and here at Citi Sports, we're counting down to the big kickoff on June 14, when Russia steps out to see if they can make a claim for the big prize. But 31 other countries will have a lot to say about that, and we'll do that group by group.
Well, do I really need to introduce him? You saw the name tag there, Mr. Fentuo Tahiru. Fentuo, good evening.
Hi, hey, good evening, man.
How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Anaman.
Look, Fentuo, we met for the first time, 5-6 years ago in Kumasi? Yeah, the stadium. You were then with, I've forgotten the station.
Ultimate FM.
Ultimate FM, yes. And you were doing some fantastic commentary. Some part of you that people don't really know. Of course, since you've been in Accra, you've done more reporting, more documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you know, commentary is one of your strongholds.
It is, and I learned from the very best. Christopher Opoku, the late, he was the. I actually have a piece that's pinned on my Twitter about how he introduced me to commentary, and it's a very interesting story about just throwing you in the middle of nowhere and trusting that you'll be able to do the job. And I think that mostly that's what we all need, really, for somebody to say, "I trust you." You can do it, and it's a fascinating story of how I got into commentary. Unfortunately, at Citi FM, we don't really do a lot of commentary. We did a few during the AFCON, but that was the first time since I joined Citi that we did any AFCON commentary. But I'm trying to polish up as well. But I really do love commentary.
So wouldn't you say that has been a sort of an advantage for you, because a lack of commentary means you get to do more analysis, and now a lot of people see you as like a benchmark for analysis because you do a lot on your personal Facebook, your Twitter, and all that.
And it's true. But at the same time, when you look at the commentary angle, it really is something that you can fly with, because I do think that at this point in time, it doesn't appear there are too many English commentators in the country. I think we don't have enough. If you take out the legendary Kobna Yabo, of course. Now we've got Graham doing wonderful for himself. George Addo, Joy FM is doing wonderful for himself. A few other guys.
Henry Asante-Chum.
Henry Asante-Chum is another veteran in the business. But when you look at the current generation, people of our age, we don't seem to have a lot of people that are taking up commentary. And we don't take care. They might get to a point where commentators are extinct. In this business, and I think it's important for people like us to take it up, and because there were times where commentators were the superstars in the sports journalism industry. Over to you, Joe Lati. Nobody can ever forget that particular iconic line. So, but today, is there any current journalist with an iconic line that you can refer to? There has to be.
You think it's sort of fading out?
It's sort of fading out, but the football remains the same. The athletics remains the same. So it's important for us to. I think it's one area that we all need to try and take it up. And for even a lot of the upcoming journalists, it's something that they need to explore, because I think at this point in time, it appears the chief commentators have taken over the sphere, the airwaves. They're dominating. Everywhere you go, the chief commentator is doing wonderfully.
Do you think you would excel as a chief commentator?
No, I don't think my tree is that impeccable. Because
I stayed in Kumasi for quite a while.
I mean, I'd like to say I'm fluent in Fiifi, but I don't think it's good enough to be able to put it together to describe spontaneous, ongoing action, because that's very difficult. And because it's so descriptive, and football isn't really, it's not really something that I think that's grown up with Chi.
Right.
Kind of. So every time you have to coin different words.
Yeah.
And that sort of creativity can only happen if you are infallible.
Right.
In the way you
know
express.
your stuff.
Exactly.
It takes years of practice.
So that's going to be very difficult.
So was that why you left Kumasi then? I want to push you to the wall here.
Not necessarily, but I think part of it at a point, Kumasi isn't really very English, if you like, because if you're an English presenter in Kumasi, you're being suffocated. It's very difficult for you to get noticed.
Is it that there are a few English, broadcasters? Is it that people see English broadcasting as sort of pretentious? I remember when I was growing up in Kumasi, it was like that, that kind of thing. So did you feel that way, or you just felt like it hadn't really developed to that level?
No, I think I grew up listening to the likes of Lister Yosu Bukasing, and these guys were broadcasting in English at the time.
At Capital FM?
At Capital, exactly. And they were doing really well at the time. But I think it got to a point where there was this sort of gap when Capital sort of went down. Love FM didn't really do a lot of English stuff. So there was a massive gap when it comes to English broadcasting, especially in the sports. Right. So, and during the same period, people gravitated towards the Chi broadcast. And I think that the Chi broadcasters, they did a lot of work themselves to really, get the audience to their side. And that was when people like the King Abens and Sama started emerging and presenting foreign sports news and stuff like that. That kind of thing you can't do in English, because English is such that you cannot
perform it.
Exactly. You can't concoct anything, and you can't sweeten. The news is the news.
Right.
Real Madrid has signed Zidane. They have signed Zidane. Right? You go and you give statistics about it. A Chi presenter will say so much more than is required, and people love that.
Even the style of delivery sometimes.
Exactly. So, and I think that they did that. They took over the market. So when people like us and Benghazi and Co were coming in, it was more difficult, because you were now trying to wrestle the listeners from the Chi market, and that
become a comfort zone sort of.
Exactly, and that was very difficult. But I think that what I did notice throughout my time in Kumasi was that your colleagues who worked in other media houses, they always recognized that you were doing great work. Right. And that's the ultimate stamp, when others in the business think you're doing something right. And I think that was motivation that kept you going. But I think the downside of it was that there was a time where you basically knew all your listeners, probably all your callers by names. They say hello, and you say, hello, Don Jazzy, what's up? Because you know their voice.
At least you are appealing to a certain kind of people.
Exactly.
And they're helping you grow your craft as well.
So, but it was a good time, because it also meant that you had to do more.
Right.
If you wanted to make a mark, and that meant that we worked extra, and it was really great. My time at Ultimate FM, because there was a point when we had Atapoku,
yes.
Sports Bishop, Benghazi, Ayala,
right.
Raphael Sarkodie, all these guys were on the same platform. We're doing a sports drive, and that was something new for an English station in Kumasi to try that.
So that was Benghazi trying to replicate the Capital model sort of at
that was daring. And at the time, that was like my real introduction to leadership, because then all these guys were there. I had worked under Benghazi at Capital, but I was the sports editor. Not
to cut you there, but Benghazi also put me on radio for the first time.
Exactly. So a lot of people have him to thank for that. I think Ayala is another person who went on radio for the first time at Capital under Benghazi. So, when it comes to the English market, really don't have anything bad to say about him.
You were a producer at Ultimate. You started off as a producer, and then you...
Yes. My move to Ultimate was a very interesting one. And because I think when I finished school, when I came back, because I did my final year in the US, when I came back, I was doing national service in Kumasi. I was teaching. Okay. And I was going to Capital, because I had intended at Capital excuse me, I interned at Capital every single long vacation since level 100 at Lagos. The final year, I was at Ecstasy. After level 300, I was at Ecstasy, Radio Ecstasy. It was a spin-off of Capital, if you like, because a lot of Capital guys left. So a lot of the people that I knew were there. So that was where I interned during the level 300 vacation. Then level 400, that was when I traveled. When I came back to do my national service, I was teaching.
In Kumasi?
I was teaching in Kumasi, King's College. And I was going to Capital the whole time because the passion was always there. That's what I've always wanted to do. But obviously when I came back, they weren't hiring. So I was there for like throughout the period of the national service, and I was going to Capital every day after school. I would go there after school, I'd go there. And it got to a point where I just thought, and this was a bold decision, I just thought, okay, I mean, I've been interning here for forever. I know the job. I'm basically working now. But I wasn't getting paid. So I thought, okay, the small money I was getting from school that I was teaching, I'm reinvesting in transportation back and forth to, I mean, so I went, I spoke to the guys like, okay, there's a point now where I feel,
money for come.
You know, at least something small.
Always a difficult conversation.
Always a difficult conversation. That didn't go too well.
Was that because you sort of didn't negotiate well?
No, I think Fiifi was because the station was going through some issues at the time. Finances were hard to come by, so always the easy road for a lot of managers like that to take. It's to say, you know what, for those of you who are new, we can't pay you, because radio people really think that it's a favor they're doing you, and it was a favor from the beginning.
Giving you exposure, like they say.
Giving you exposure. So, but I thought it wasn't. At the time I knew the job, I had now learned how to edit, how to write, how to read, everything that I needed to know. I knew that, but also at the time I needed to take a very financially wise decision for my family. I was done with school now and needed money, needed to save up. Thank you. So I stopped, I quit. And I was just doing the teaching for a whole 1 year until Asarabe Diako, a good friend of mine who was working at Love FM at the time, he was then at Ultimate. He was about to leave Ultimate. And then he called me, he was like, I'm going to leave here, but I need to find somebody to come and fill my boots because I really need to set these guys up before I leave. So are you interested? And I'm like, why not? I'm interested. So he said, okay, cool, come in. I went in and I spoke to Kofi Owusu, who is now the Director General for GNA.
GNA, yes.
Wow. Formerly of multimedia, even Class FM, Metro TV.
Definitely.
I had a conversation with him, and he loved me. And I started as part-time, but they were paying me something small for transportation, so I was going between school and
studio work.
And the studio work. And that was late 2013. I was just starting there when Ghana beat Egypt 7-1. Yeah, so that was around that time.
Around that time. I think we met also around.
Yes, we did around that time. So I started like that, and then the station underwent a bit of restructuring. That was when the new EIB took over, and the guys Vaughn and Bolare and co, they offered me a contract and said I should quit teaching.
Wow!
So I quit teaching and I took up the Ultimate job on a full-time basis, and that's what's led me here.
That's what's led you here. Now, when you're narrating your Ultimate story, I realized it resembled, if I should say, the Citi FM situation, because you came in and was someone who said, "Oh, I'm leaving to do something. Can you come in?" And then you took the opportunity, and now you're one of the biggest names on Accra radio.
Well, you see, and Fiifi, I'll tell you this. Many people don't know this, but my bosses do because I dealt with them directly.
Right.
This time that I've joined Citi FM, there's a third time I've tried to join Citi FM. And it worked on the third time. Third time. Many people, I haven't told many people this.
Why? So, you were at Ultimate, right?
Yes.
But you wanted to come to Accra.
Yes. There was a desire to come to Accra because as an English podcaster, Accra is the hub of English podcasting. Citi FM were market leader at the time, and I've always loved their model. But you know, if the first time that I tried to come, I wasn't at Ultimate.
Okay.
The first time I tried to come was when I had just come back from the States, and I was going to do my national service at Citi. And it didn't work because the National Service Secretariat were doing their posting in a very funny way, because they post those who finished here first, and then they have to wait for students of Morocco to finish, then they'll post theirs like late in October. I even went to an interview, and Bernard was there at that meeting, at that interview, and I'm talking 2010.
Whoa.
Here, right? And it didn't, and in the end, let's just say it didn't work out. And I didn't get Citi FM.
Was this the time of Erasmus Qual?
Yes, it was the time that Erasmus Qual. So at the time, I never met any of the Citi sports team. Okay. Because at the time, I was just another newsroom intern. That was the only experience I had, because I started as a regular newsroom guy. Okay. I didn't start out as a sports guy. So when I came in...
You've always had the passion for sports.
Yes. Right. You know, so when I came in for national service at the time, they were going to take me up and put me in the newsroom as a regular reporter. So that didn't work. And I went round and round, and I came to Ultimate. And 2015, when Gary was leaving Citi FM.
This was January 2015.
January 2015. I was supposed to come and replace him.
Oh.
So I came.
Is this an exclusive?
It is. I've never told anybody this.
Interested.
I came to Citi. I came and I met Bernard, I met Nathan, and let's just say they thought I wasn't ready at the time. So
did you accept that you weren't ready though?
Of course I did. How else do you think I went back and
naturally you would feel disappointed.
Yeah, but you see, it was also, and this is big news, because it was around the same time, the January 2015. That's when you know that the opportunities were opening up. Yeah. It was January 2015 that AIB gave me the first contract and asked me to quit teaching.
Wow.
That days later, I got a call to come to Citi FM as well. So when I came to Citi, I had the AIB contract unsigned in my folder.
On standby.
On standby. So I was looking at that. So when I came to Citi...
So that explains why you weren't disappointed then.
Thank you. That explains why I wasn't disappointed when it didn't happen for me. So the third and final one, of course, in late 2017, September 2017, I was ready because I thought that I had grown.
Yes, you had made a name for yourself.
In Kumasi, and I needed a new challenge. Let's just put it that way. And thankfully, the guys at Citi FM thought I was ready as well. And
this was when Raman had left. Raman
had left, yes. And there was a gap to fill. I don't know a few other guys who were interested in, but yeah.
But I mean, you had tried twice before, so I mean, you know how life works.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the third time it worked out, and I'm grateful.
Were you emotional when you finally got in?
Yes, I was more...
It's like a dream come true.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. It was a dream come true. Working at Citi FM is a dream come true for me, because I've always wanted to work there. I've always admired them from afar. Even when I was at Ultimate FM, every morning I was always listening to Nathan Kwao present the kickoff in the morning. And, you know, and ever since it didn't work out the second time in 2015, I had kept like a very close eye on Citi, and I was always willing to come. I was always wanting to be there. So when I finally got that opportunity, so that probably explains even why, because it didn't last. It's like, you meet Bernard, and I thought, okay, I know you. Let me see. So since your last visit here, what have you been doing? I show him a lot of my work. He's impressed. He says, go talk to HR. Go to HR. HR said, we'll pay you this amount of money. I'm like, I'm on. Okay.
Meaning the money was good.
Or meaning I was desperate to work there. So
Fentuo Tahiru, Fentuo.
So it's like, HR, where do I sign, please?
So Fentuo, you're approaching 2 years at Citi.
I am. October 2017 would be my 2 years.
So October 2019 will be 2 years. Yes. Let me push you to the wall a bit. Yeah. Let's kick it up, make it a bit controversial.
Yeah.
Do you think Citi Sports is number one in Accra at the moment?
Because
you have a competitor.
We do.
A major competitor at that.
I think we had advantages that they don't.
Right.
And I think we have unique products that they don't. This is how I'll put it.
By unique, you mean the English Premier League?
And I do, by unique, I mean in the English Premier League broadcast that we have on Citi FM, it's massive on the weekends. It's pretty much everybody's go-to station if you're a sports lover.
Was that one of your attractions, getting into Citi, right?
You know, that was one of them. But also, I think that if you look at all of the Citi sports shows, you know, and that was always, because when you're new to a place, in order for you to thrive, the environment has to be right for you.
Right.
It doesn't matter how good you are. If the environment isn't right for you, you have to create the environment to thrive. At Citi, they create an environment for you to thrive.
Right.
So it's on to you to take advantage of it. So, and what do I say? If you look at the Citi sports team, we are only just 4 people. There's Nathan, there's Benjamin, that's Daniel, and that's myself. 4 people, we run TV, we run radio, we run online. Throughout. No help from anybody. It's just the 4 of us. What we do a lot.
And you rotate producer, presenter.
Yes, and we don't have, so we rotate production. And nobody's a producer, nobody's a presenter, right. Nobody is anything. It just, Nathan is editor, everybody else. But even he does a lot of production work. Right. So it's basically everybody's job to do everything. Once there's a job to be done, you have to do it. And that's the sort of environment. So even if you don't, because when I joined Citi, we didn't have TV.
TV came later.
TV came later. We didn't hire new people to come and do TV. We had to adapt to do TV. So learn TV editing, learn TV production, learn all of those things within such a short period to deliver the content that we do.
Which I'm thinking must have been very stressful, but also a blessing, right? So you got to learn TV, now you have more skills in your bag and all that.
Exactly. And they have all these trainings for you to be able to sharpen your skills. So the environment is right. But I think also at the same time, you ask about the Citi Sports team and Citi Sports and whether Citi Sports is number 1. If you take Sports Panorama, for example, which is like our number 1 radio sports show.
Friday nights.
On Friday night, 7 p.m. You know.
You get away with that.
Yes, thank you. And I'm not going to sit here and lie. It's one of the biggest sports shows in this city, if not the biggest. And it's only once a week. The show isn't really so much about what we say or how smart the guys are, but it's also about the chemistry of the team, the banter of a team. So if you're in an environment, if you're a team, it has to be felt. Right. You can't be competing among each other in an unhealthy way where somebody, because I know I know media houses. I've been at places where people come and people think that the content that they have is for them only, and then they hoard it, and then they hide it.
As in people on the same team. And
people on the same team. I did this interview, so let me keep it. I'll have to use it on my show tomorrow. No. It's for Citi Sports, or it's for the sports team. It's for the sports team. It's for the station. It's not for you, the individual. So you have to share. You have to share knowledge. It's very important. Everybody has their strengths, and everybody shares. That's what happens at Citi FM. Everybody has their strengths. If you take Daniel, for example, Daniel has massive interest in tennis. He's a great tennis lover. Let's say football is universal. Everybody loves football. But Benjamin loves basketball more than anybody.
Yeah, so you've got this like diverse areas of expertise coming together.
Yes, Daniel loves his tennis. You understand? Nathan loves pretty much everything. Nathan is Nathan. He loves everything. But at the same time, he's the go-to boxing guy. You understand? If you take me, I like to think I like athletics quite a lot. So we complement each other. Right. And when it comes to, and there's stuff that, because the local content is hard to come by. And that's why when I joined Citi FM, that was what I made.
You've been doing pretty good work on
it's
that
like,
end.
This is great. The EPL is great. It's fantastic. It's made this station what it is. But it's also important for us to give our listeners, to give our viewers a lot of local content, because people love that.
Important to give listeners a lot of local content. If you're watching us, we are talking to Fentuo Tahiru. Fentuo, he's a journalist with Citi FM and Citi TV, and he's our guest on tonight's episode of the Storyteller Story Series. Now, Fentuo, I have with me here a VIP reservation at Serenity Beach Resort. They are located in Sakumono. Kind compliment of them. So this is
that's
for you.
For me?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Celebrating you on our show.
Oh, wow.
For all you've done and continue to do.
Is it for just
career.
me, or
for you, probably a +1 or
probably
+2.
A +1 or +2. Maybe I'll take my mom.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us, Fentuo Tahiru. Fentuo, I'm sure a lot of you have been hearing him on your airwaves in terms of radio. You're wanting to meet the man behind all of those succinct analysis you hear on Citi FM. He's been our guest on tonight's edition of the Storyteller Story Series. Next Wednesday, another person comes in to tell us his story to journalism. But until then, my name is Fiifi Anaman. Normal service resumes tomorrow evening, Thursday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Until then, it's good night and it's God bless.
And the sweet silver song